And the gate is down. Matt Bisceglia has been nailing the starts, landing at a 43, and it looks like he's got another one. Trying to hold Davalos at bay, and he does. The RCH Yoshimura Suzuki has the motorsport.com hole shot.
Oh, and Kenny and I just saw Tomac almost went down sort of in the middle of the screen, then about 15th position. There you see him running around the outside. He got sort of batted around, and look at that, Davalos. Oh, wastes no time, scrubs that. Beautiful pass.
Davalos has been coming on strong lately.
I couldn't help but notice Tomac's starting position. I did sneak down there earlier today, and I counted it was about 10 spot from the inside that was pretty much dead on with the start corner. So very interesting choice for him to go at about 15 spot. That's quite far out there, but he had a pretty good jump, good into the first turn, but it seems like he had a little bit of a mistake and it's further back now.
Yeah, shuffled around, and you see Musquin coming through as well. Not a great start for him. It's Davalos, Bisceglia, Bogle. So the RCH boys getting good starts again. Then it's Seeley, Pike, Baggett, Musquin 7th. Dakota, Alex, Phil Nicoletti, and Kyle Chisholm. Welcome back to racing in the U.S. Top 10. Tomac, here he comes, trying to get into that top 10.
Yeah, this has not been a great opening half a lap for Tomac. Actually, the guy sitting next to me, Ken Roxon, I remember when he had a couple of those bad starts, he'd go from about 16th to 6th in one lap. Tomac maybe being a little more cautious. We've seen him in races in the past, maybe throw it away on the opening lap. Maybe that's in the back of his mind, but definitely looks just a little timid right now. But that's what happens when you don't get the start and you're battling mid-pack.
Yeah, exactly. My mentality is get out of my way. I want to get to the front. I want to keep my gear clean. But like I said, he didn't have the good start, but it'll be very interesting to see where or how many passes he will make in the first few laps. You can see not too many bumps yet. Lines are slowly developing. And obviously some of those turns right there, they're very one line, so there's not a whole lot of room to make a pass there.
Yeah. Caught a break there. Craig not able to nail the triple, so Tomac easily able to make the pass on one of your top riders out here. Craig coming right back on him, though, on the outside.
Yeah, Craig didn't jump that triple step up. He looked over, Tomac went by, and then Tomac slammed the door. Maybe Craig not too happy about that, wanting to go right back after him.
You're pretty familiar with that number 48 machine. That is technically supposed to be your bike, my friend.
Yeah, that's correct. That's actually my bike, but obviously a little bit of suspension, a little bit of different suspension for him since he's a bit taller and a bit heavier than me. But let me tell you, I can't wait to be back on that bike, that's for sure.
All right, so Tomac now trying to work his way past the 11 of Kyle Chisholm, and he gets around Chiz. So this will put him right around 10th here at the end of the first lap. Musquin not too much further ahead. He's actually only 7th. And Davalos is putting the hammer down. He's up by 2 seconds after one lap. Continue to watch Tomac do some work here in this Monster Energy Kawasaki. I believe that's Freddie Noren in front of him on the number 40 Honda. And that would be the next rider that Tomac's got to get. Then ahead of Noren is Phil Nicoletti. Tomac way down to the bottom in that corner.
Yeah, you got to be creative. Like we were talking about, if you want to be able to make passes in the opening laps, you cannot be following the guys in front of you, which usually means taking an unorthodox line.
All right, I want to go back and show you the start again as Tomac tries to work Noren over to move into 11th place. Here's your Motorsport whole shot replay. Couple things to watch, Grant.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look here. If you have a look, as I'm going to pull this up here, Eli Tomac, right in that vicinity. He's about, like they said, about 15 gates out, 5 from the middle. Now watch when he comes down the straight. Not a terrible jump. Gets into the first turn near the front. So right here, not a problem at all, but it seems like right coming out of the turn, he becomes a bit of a pinball. Goes for a tear-off, wheelies, misses the shift, clips the rear wheel. That could have, really changed things dramatically right there. And that's the thing we talk about this point in the season, about cutting out those big mistakes.
Going inside of that start is just a little bit of a safer bet. That's for sure the way I would have gone.
Martin Davalos just rolling. Go ahead, Grant.
I was going to say, it's like weighing up your options in a game of poker. You want to minimize your risk. So I agree with that. The further inside you go, yes, maybe you didn't quite get the whole shot, but it's a lot safer and a lot easier to come out in 5th as opposed to 25th.
Now Davalos here got on the podium, 3rd place at Washougal. 2nd place overall last week at Unadilla, and lo and behold, he is now leading. This has got to be the surprise of the season. Marty, a lifetime 250 rider, and known more for his Supercross results than outdoors, but on a big bike outdoors this year, he has really come on strong, and he's got a 2.5-second lead now.
Yeah, that is, he's been coming on stronger and stronger each week, but I think a lot of it too is with that, the confidence. His starts have gotten better, and his opening lap pace has been great. And then once you get a gap, mentally, you're like, oh, where are these guys? They're not coming. Great. I've got this.
A couple Suzuki riders battling it out here. You got Bisceglia 4th, and Pike 5th. So Bisceglie on that RCH Yoshimura Suzuki. It's the Auto Trader monster Joe Gibbs Racing Suzuki. A Pike right behind him taking a shovel full of roost.
Yeah, you can tell that dirt's still pretty heavy at the top of the hill. I think from a lot of the weather on the hills, a lot of that loose soil gets washed down either to the bottom, like at those sort of turns right here. You can see a lot of loamy dirt down there, or at the very tops where it hasn't been able to run off. And then all the in-between seems to be a little more harder packed than normal.
And then behind them you have Baggett and Marvin, so they're not exactly making up passes in chunks either, Kenny.
Yeah, like I said, it's a typical, like you see this turn right there. There are not a whole lot of options where you can go and actually make up ground. So you have to be creative and be quite a bit faster to make some passes happen here.
Yeah, they are just hanging out, trying to find running room around Pike and Bisceglie. There's Baggett on the 4, and then the next rider behind him would be Musquin.
One thing I got to think about with Baggett is, you know, talking about his thumb injury and the fact that maybe it's not getting worse, but it's definitely not getting any better because it requires surgery. But I think a track like this is really going to test, you know, the strength and the ability right at these points here when the forks are getting compressed down the hill and all that pressure is in the sort of in your thumb area. It might be a long, tough day for Baggett, but we'll really get to see where he stands at the moment, health-wise.
Excuse me. A lot of people think having a hand injury, wrist injury, whatever it is, thumb, that the jumps are the problem. That is usually not the problem because you can downside it and it'll be like a cloud.
Make it smooth as possible.
Exactly, but going down certain hills and hitting the bumps, that is usually where it starts getting a bit painful.
Pike just made the pass there on Bisceglie. Go ahead, Grant.
The only way you're going to make it less painful is going slower down the hills and not braking as hard. And guess what? That means you're going to be nowhere near the front of an AMA Pro Motocross race.
Yeah, well, Blake said he felt Southwick was actually one of the better ones. Him as Bisceglie now comes back on Pike with Baggett right there. Baggett said in the sand, you're able to go wide open and you're just pulling off the back of the bike. Yeah. Those downhills, as you mentioned here, that's the one he's got to worry about.
You can see there's a good mixture of dirt on the track. Like Grant said, on top right here, it is very deep and bikes are moving kind of slow, but you can tell on some of the off cambers, all that dirt is washed down, and it is definitely more hard packed there where you can see riders fighting the front end and especially the rear end a little bit as Pike makes a mistake right there.
He was fighting the front end right there, as you said. It almost washed the front end, and I think sometimes it's a little deceiving because underneath some of that loam, you come in and you push that loam and it hits that, that hard base, which is also a little moist, which means it's a little slippery. Marvin tripling up the hill there.
Another key where Marvin is actually really good at is being light on the bike, right?
Yeah.
So some of these rough, Blake making
yeah, getting back
right there.
So Marvin had gotten him and now Blake just got him right back. All right.
So we've seen mistakes from just about everybody at the moment. Maybe not Davalos, but just about everyone else.
And have they rolled up now on Seeley? Yes, they have. They have now caught Seeley, who's the third place rider. He kind of snuck in there while we were watching this battle. So now they're all close. Seeley, Bisceglie, Pike, Musquin, Baggett, 3rd through 7th, all the same piece of racetrack.
And if I'm not mistaken, we have a new leader.
Wait a minute.
Something just happened really quickly.
Yeah, so Davalos either made a bobble or Bogle made a pass, but Bogle going to the front. He's been pretty fast the last couple of weeks. Hasn't quite had the results to show it. But this could be the opportunity. We've reminded everyone every week. He has gotten a Moto win this year. He's done it once before.
And does he fall under the category of racing for a ride?
Boom.
So, yeah, he took the keys to the Moto there. And it'd be great to see him have another one of those. It was just random how he had that one Moto, and we thought, oh, is this going to open the floodgates for more podiums? And he's ridden better, but not anywhere near that kind of one-off Moto, as this scrap is starting to get, to that point in the Moto where guys are starting to get tired of eating roost and they want to get around each other.
We have another rider in this group. You'll see the blue Yamaha. Cooper Webb has hooked up in the back. Whoa, almost together, Musquin and Pike. And Baggett's going to try to sneak in there and take advantage. Woo! And there's Cooper Webb. Now you see he's in this fight as well. So we're going 3rd all the way back to 8th in a big stack up here.
Yeah, don't look over your shoulder because Tomac is behind Dakota. Alex is just behind this group, but they're not that far off. Just a couple seconds, you should see them in the background dropping down the hill. And the way these guys are sort of battling each other, sort of holding each other up, that might give an opportunity for the guys behind.
Man, Marvin really trying to get creative here to figure out a way to get around Bisceglie. Here's his chance. He's going to triple up and makes it happen. Oh, Pike, sorry. Bisceglie is already further up ahead.
Every time it seemed like Pike made some progress, he'd make a little mistake. Just as we see right there, Baggett went to make some progress and make a pass. Instead, well, loses the position.
Same scenario as with Marvin earlier. Marvin took that same line, and that softer dirt kind of, it hooks really, really sharp. So you want to try and stay out of that, but he basically did the same mistake as Marvin did earlier, where Blake got by Marvin, and now he got past.
So Marvin was able to bust through that. He gets around Pike. And Bisceglia would be next on his list. Pike still ahead of Webb, who's also got around Baggett. So here's Pike, got to go back to work. They've all been exchanging mistakes. And another rider has joined up with Webb.
No, that's Baggett who got around.
That's right, he has
mistake.
gotten zapped. Yeah, absolutely. So Baggett's losing a couple spots in that one mistake.
I like that he got zapped.
He got zapped, yeah. Just like that, how quickly. I mean, he was trying to get around Marvin about 3 turns earlier, and instead he got passed by Baggett. Now trying to get, Baggett got passed by Webb. Now Baggett's trying to get him back. They still have Pike right there as well.
And keep in mind, these are all crucial points, especially for the riders involved in the championship. For Baggett, he still sits second in points. He sees Marvin make a couple passes, including himself, and moving away. In the back of his mind, he knows, hey, I'm actually going to lose second in the points after this moto if something doesn't change. So
I'll tell you what's changing right now. Webb's trying to change and get around Pike, take that 6th position away. Meanwhile, Tomac has now gotten Dakota Ellis, so he is 9th. He's about 3 seconds behind this freight train battle. Still do not see the Kawasaki in the hunt yet. 12 minutes into this moto.
Still plenty of time, especially for these top guys, when the second half just seems to be their time to shine as the track's getting rougher. Let's not forget, too, it is hot and humid out there. I know we did our little opening scene outside, and we were both battling with the humidity.
Oh, yeah.
So for these riders, it's going to be tough, especially Moto 2.
I've got the feeling that this is just the beginning. All these riders battling, a couple of big points ramifications in this mix right now. You're watching Pike versus Webb for 6. But meanwhile, Justin Bogle up front, going to try to get his 2nd career Moto win. Battle continues to rage here. You see Blake Baggett, he's on the orange number 4. That is the Rocky Mountain NFAB KTM. And these 2 Suzukis right in front of them, they have been about this close the entire race. I even confused which one was which earlier with Bisceglia and Pike. They've been battling hard.
And right when we came back from commercial, in the background, you see Tomac. He was able to get around Webb. So Tomac now throws his name into the mix. There he is. You see him behind Blake Baggett. Webb made a little mistake at the bottom of the hill. Kenny, we both noticed it.
Yeah, every single pass, and correct me if I'm wrong, in this race have been made by somebody doing a mistake, stuff in the front end, and not really getting going out of the turn.
Yeah, it's not those drug out, earn the pass. It's more he was there, going front, either tried a new line to make a pass and lost a position, or just made a mistake.
Yeah, remember Webb got around Baggett. When Baggett made a mistake, Baggett got back around Webb, and so did Tomac. And we're already halfway through this moto. So perfect reminder, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your insurance with a 15-minute phone call to Geico. Oh, you better call somebody. D-Line Tomac is coming. Blake Baggett trying desperately now to get around Pike and Bisceglia. He's going to have a rear-view mirror full of Kawasaki right now. There's Baggett on the inside. Mistake by Pike, and still every mistake leading to a pass.
Pretty much a 4-way battle right now. Those guys are trying to get ahead of each other.
Well, we don't often see this type of shuffling at the beginning of Moto. These guys have all passed each other, what, 2-3 times?
What's kind of cool, too, is just to see all the different brands represented as well. You got KTM, you got Suzuki, you got Kawasaki, you got the Yamaha.
Especially look at the lap time.
Especially this deep in the moto. You know, a lot of times opening laps, you see this, and then it sort of kind of starts breaking apart. But this battle has kept everyone together.
Marvin, now that he's got clear racetrack, he's back and forth, but he is starting to circulate a little bit quicker than Seeley, Davalos, and Bogle, who are in front of him. That's the good news. The bad news for him, he is 12.8 seconds down on your leader, Bogle. So if he wants the win streak to continue, he's really going to have to hustle as we continue to watch Baggett here on the 4. And now Pike under fire right behind him from Tomac.
Yeah, Tomac's definitely gotten into his groove the second half of the moto. You can tell just by his riding posture, it's more of the attack mode. And I'm sure he's getting the pit board and the signals. And there's places, Kenny, you can attest to this, where you have a chance to look across the track and see who's ahead of you or who you're coming up on.
Yeah, and sometimes it's encouraging, you know, when you see you're gaining on, let's say, the race leader, even though he's a little bit out ahead. that is mentally a big bonus for the person.
Feels good, don't it?
Yeah.
That's always a great feeling. You're like, yep, I'm coming.
See if you can get around Pike here. And Webb still lurking just behind. That would be 9th place. And then Craig is 10th. And Alex Wilson is 12th. Bloss, Chisholm, Noren. That rounds out your top 15. What's going to change first? Can Tomac make some moves and gain some points? Can Musquin or Baggett move further forward, gain some points? A lot still up for grabs here at Butts Creek. Oh, a mistake here for Cole Seeley in 3rd, and once again a mistake leads to a pass. Marvin Musquin was closing, but it might have taken him a little while to get around Seeley, who's been riding well lately, but a bobble by the 14, and Marvin is by. This is again for 3rd.
Cole needs to try and get back right on him, because as he got past, Marvin was still right there, and you don't want to have to try and catch up again and make the pass. So as soon as he got past and he's still on Marvin, he needs to try and get back at it right away.
Well, also just to try and learn from him as well. Obviously, Marvin's got the pace. And I believe we have the replay of Musquin making the pass happen. And once again, just mistakes leading to shuffling in position.
Yeah, so we'll show you how Marvin took 3rd away from Seeley. Still a lot of work to do to catch anyone else. Here we go.
Yeah, a little mistake on the exit from Seeley. Lost his drive. Marvin even had to shut off. Wasn't able to triple down there, but just able to get ahead of him right there and then close the door on him. Perfectly executed pass there.
Cole might have been able to push the needle there a little bit if he wanted to.
Yeah. Maybe if it was last lap for an overall or something, he might have decided to just push the door back open.
Clean, fair riding right there.
Yeah, Cole never wants to be really known as extremely aggressive, but I think at some point, or to some extent, all these riders have a certain amount of aggression on the track.
This guy does right now. Bogle continues to control it, and just as quickly as Davalos closed in a bit, got it down to about 2 seconds.
You see him look over. He looked over at one of the guys and looked down at the engine.
Uh-oh.
He's giving them a signal. He knows something's wrong with the bike. He gave a look across and gave the head nod down towards the engine.
That would be a heartbreaker for Bogle, who has controlled the majority of this race. Now we're wondering if the bike can hang on, and Davalos is still close.
I'm wondering if maybe it isn't just the clutch prime. You know, we're talking about how heavy it is in some of the sections, and you get a little excited when you're out front, you over-rev and use a little too much clutch. And if it starts, getting too hot and smoking, you'll lose a little bit of power, because he still seems like he's getting around with majority of the speed. But, well, just speculating,
And we'll give you the gap. It is 8 seconds now over Musquin, who still has Seeley behind him in 4th. So Marvin is closing by about 1.5 seconds or so each lap, but that's not enough with the amount of time left.
To me, one of those, he's going to have to make it more than a second. So it's either he's going to pick it up a little more, or the leaders are going to have to start slowing down a little bit more. And, well, with Bogle having an issue and maybe him being a little more defensive in front of Davalos, who knows?
We'll show you the rest of this pack right now. So you got Seeley 4th, Bisceglia still running a great run. So that's 2 RCH Suzukis in the top 5 with Bogle and Bisceglia. Then Baggett 6th, Pike 7th, Tomac 8th. Not where he wants to be. Still there behind Pike, can't make the move.
There's Webb still hanging on to Tomac.
Okay, now I know that some are going to theorize that Tomac with a manageable points lead is not going all out, but I feel like you guys don't have calculators always saying the handlebars. You can't just say today is a 75% effort day.
No.
You don't want to do that. It's like last year, I mean, I had quite a few points, and there's no other options for me than charging forward. You still want to race for Moto wins, overall wins, and yeah, Eli's still there in 8th place. If Baggett wants to close the gap, he has to capitalize on a bad start, so he's only in 6th.
Yeah, Baggett probably not as far forward as he'd like to be right now with this opportunity from Tomac to gain some points, but that would only be a 2-point swing in Baggett's favor unless Baggett can move forward, and Tomac certainly would like to do that as well. Let's show you what this track looks like for practice. Ronnie Stewart with our Garmin course preview.
Yeah, this is at the top of the hill where we've seen several mistakes where you want to triple down, get the braking bumps developing here. Seems like the premier line is to get to the inside, see how loose it is there over the red ball step down as he gets out jumped.
Checking back in with Marvin Musquin's progress. He's closed it Again, another second and a half from 8.1 to 6.7 seconds, but the clock keeps ticking.
Well, you can see the gap right now to Davalos. You don't even need a stopwatch for this one. So Musquin just coming on fire. And before we went to commercial break there, we were, you know, Kenny, we were saying that this track, with it being smoothed out a little bit, has kept, I think, the times somewhat together. That's something that you had mentioned. And maybe that's the problem with Eli. If you're not all out aggressive and you're going, okay, I got a point steal, I'll keep a little conservative, and you're off just 5% even. I think that's the difference between charging forward like Musquin or being stuck sort of in 8th place.
Yeah, Marvin definitely been having the upper hand when it comes to passing. But we can see if this keeps up like that, this is going to be a close race towards the end. We have about, what, about 4 laps to go or so of the...
I'd say so, yeah.
If Marvin keeps going a second and a half faster, potentially he could still win this thing.
Yeah, he could get right there in the last lap. Now, he's caught Davalos, but Davalos had a bad lap the last time around. He ran a 2:07.5, almost 2 seconds off of Bogle. So Bogle has stretched it to 5.5 seconds over Davalos. And then you see Musquin right here.
I think
another second clicked off for Marvin.
Yep. I think the other thing, too, is how quickly can Marvin get around Martin?
Exactly.
If he can do it on this lap, there's still enough time and enough laps that if he puts his head down, he will, I believe, get to the rear wheel of Bogle.
Oh, and that's going to be so critical. There's a 3-point swing between first and second.
It's a big deal. Right now, it's 5 points.
Yep, and 2 more.
Marvin can't waste any time on this one, that's for sure.
All right, things are heating up here at Budds Creek. Live 450 motocross coverage on MAV TV. Marvin Musquin trying to take second away from Martin Davalos, and he has it on that uphill triple.
And that's been his spot on Moto, tripling it and still getting into that corner. Beautiful flow, the way he lands with his leg out into the corner. Something only technical riders can do. Kenny, you might know what I'm talking about.
I do. You see this corner before, how nice and smooth he went around there. This is where you make or break that lap.
Yep.
You want to keep it as clean as Marvin did it, and that's where most of the other guys had their problems, so this is how you're going to click off second after second. All
right, so the big question was, could Musquin make quick work of Davalos and not get held up? What do you say? That was pretty good?
Yeah,
half lap?
That was efficient.
Okay. This is what you call wasting no time. So.
Oh! Whoa! Oh, I thought when they went offloading, I thought this could have been
collision.
Yeah. It made me nervous, and I wasn't even riding.
You get a little angry at the lappers sometimes.
But you know, the crazy part is sometimes when you see it from the outside, it might look crazy, and under the helmet, you're like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal.
I've had that. I've had people go, oh my gosh, it was so close. You go, what do you mean? I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
When it went bad, I pulled it together.
Okay, so here's your leader, Bogle. Now it's time to get the stopwatch out with 2.5 laps to go. And also not just the speed and the gap. What about the mechanical issue we saw before? Georgia, what are you hearing?
I caught up with Grant Hutchinson, his mechanic, when it first immediately happened. He said, oh, I don't see it. Then further on, when you mentioned it again the next lap, he said it's actually just the overflow, the coolant, I would imagine, that's creating that right now. And he didn't seem worried about it. And obviously, Justin's not too worried because he's managing to hold everything together.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything since that lap or two. So now it might just come down to straight speed. Does Marvin have time to catch him? He's got the gap to 4.5 seconds now. But we might only have 3 laps to go.
Well, the thing now is when it gets this close with someone like Marvin, now you start doing those qualifying laps where you can see the leader and he knows there's a championship on the line. He knows how critical these 3 points are. I think that mental side of it is going to make him dig really deep and maybe go from gaining a second a lap to 1 or 2 of these last laps. I think he's going to really put it down and maybe gain a little more than that. But that's also where you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
When you're really pushing. We've seen that today on this track.
Hey, Tomac is in 7th. He's gotten around Pike, and he is running the best laps on the track right now. He just ran a 2:05, the only rider out there doing that. But see if he can get to Baggett. He's 3 seconds behind Baggett. That is 6th and 7th. Baggett and Tomac, as we're watching Musquin trying to close in on Bogle.
He is trying. Even when Marvin is really trying and hanging about, he still looks pretty cool, calm, and collected. But this is Marvin. Watch, he's going to... Subconsciously, he was looking over the crest of that hill, just seeing out of peripheral where the leader is. He knows from the pit board it's Bogle, so he's looking for that yellow bike, and he can probably see that he's just been creeping up and creeping up.
Will be interesting to see when he comes around the finish line what his lap time is going to be compared to Bogle. I think, yeah, we'll for sure have 3 laps to go.
Right at the top of the screen, Bogle just went out of sight. There's a lapper between them. Hopefully the lapper will do his job. Very nicely done.
2.5 seconds only now?
Yeah, look, there it is.
Yeah. Something must
there
have happened,
That's what I'm telling you, Marvin's just on a mission.
Well, the previous time around, Bogle ran a 2:09, which I think was his worst lap of the race. Now he's got it back to a 2:06. But that's not enough because Musquin just turned a 2:04.
And did you notice the time? They went through with like 15, 16 seconds to go. So another more lap, which is not what Bogle would have wanted. And he's going to be the first guy coming on lap traffic who are not doing him any favors right now, actually.
Oh, he just gestured toward Tomac there, the Japanese rider who got his latest on. Oh, Marvin stuffed it.
Buried it. But this is not the last lap. There's still time to close that gap up. So both riders probably getting a little frustrated with trying to take different lines. Marvin wasn't really forced to the outside. He chose that line. Tomac gets out of the way. I think he just was in the wrong place, wrong time on that off cam, because he did try and jump out of the right when he noticed the riders coming through, the leaders.
It's just a line that hasn't been used a lot, so still muddy, soft.
There's no substance, there's no base to it. It's just all soft and wet from the rain yesterday. Oh, and then a stalled rider, making everyone have to change different lines.
Gap's still closing.
Yeah.
Wow. Marvin running the gauntlet around these lap riders. But as you mentioned, Ken, he's still closing up a bit on Bogle. And that can make all the difference. Bogle 9 seconds away from getting the 2-lap board, but instead he has to go another lap. So it's 2.5 laps to go now. And more time to try to hold Musquin off. And we know Musquin can make quick passes if he gets to you.
Yeah, at least now they got around that gaggle of lappers. I'm sure they'll still encounter another few more before the end of the race. And Bogle looks like he knows Musquin's coming, because all of a sudden Bogle seems to have the put the hammer down. And I know we're repeating ourselves, but Marvin knows this is critical. If you get this close, he's got to win this moto no matter what.
This extra lap has definitely played in Marvin's favor in my eyes, because he's the one going a little bit faster.
Yeah, he is.
Just still not really in a position to make or try and make a pass. He's still a little bit too far away.
Yeah, not quite striking distance. This is not the closest he's been. I think he's been a little bit closer somewhere around that previous lap. But here it is. 2-lap card is out.
And last time around, dealing with all that traffic, Musquin was only 3/10 actually quicker than Bogle. Oh, what a mistake! Almost came off the bike.
That's what we're talking about. When you're pushing, you've got to give it everything. It's not from a lack of trying, but on a track like this where we keep saying you've got that soft stuff on top, like right there, and that hard, slick base, it's very easy to try or to override a bike. Now they're in the same shot. This is going to be, you've got a feeling it's going to come down to maybe the last lap, and we're going to maybe also test how aggressive will Marvin get for a win, and potentially putting himself into a title position. So
he has to get aggressive.
Oh yeah,
for sure. He has nothing to lose. So.
Replay of the mistake from Marvin. So you see when they land, you can see the shiny stuff, not a lot of loose dirt, and then watch the front tucks.
Ouch. Dangerous for the knee.
Yeah, especially with someone that's had a knee injury. Yeah. It's amazing how riders look at it and go, ooh, that's bad for the knee.
Yeah, ask them how they know. Okay, so Musquin closing, but we mentioned the motivation for Bogle. He would love to win this moto. There is no incentive for Bogle to make it easy on Musquin at all. He's looking for a ride next year, which is as valuable as any championship. So he's going to fight with everything he's got. He really has poured it on here.
Yeah, he's going to be stingy. And he's also really sort of hung it out. And who's that?
That's
Wilson. Wilson off the track.
I think he went down. You can see him messing with his handguard.
And we have, I believe, a replay of what happened to Wilson, who had a rough moto going.
Watch the left side of your screen. Left, very left there. Dismounts. So the bike took the brunt of it. That's the same spot Savachi went down in practice, and which is why he won't be out there today.
Yeah, that could have been much worse. Like you said, the bike took the hit.
Mandy,
she was just in the boot. She might have.
She got lucky.
She might have been thinking right now, should have stayed in the boot.
Stay out of the way. Back to our leaders. And yes, it's leaders, plural, because you got 2 riders in the same shot. Musquin has closed to the rear fender of Bogle, but there's only a lap to go.
Yeah, white flag out. So can Marvin do it? We've seen one of the few spots where you can pass without a mistake. His spot is that triple step up. He's got to be close. See a little mistake from basically both of them. That turn's still very soupy. He's got to get a little bit closer, maybe a bike length or two. Let's see if Marvin will scrub this jump, charge this corner. See, scrub, rips the tail off. He's pretty close. Now we're coming to where he's been strong. Let's see, will Bogle triple up or not? Yes, Bogle does. So for Marvin, he takes away his ammo by doing it.
Yeah, good defense from Bogle. That has been where Marvin has made all his passes. Bogle executed the jump perfectly. Now this corner where some riders have made mistakes, Bogle's just going to grab a handful and hold on.
Oh, he's right.
Yeah. So Bogle able to execute to those two sections. Time running out now for Marvin. We're about a half a lap to go.
Yeah, passing spots are starting to run out.
Yep.
It's going to either be a mistake or he's going to have to make it happen somewhere.
He's just not close enough. I was trying to think ahead, and I was thinking that he might have, if he's close, might have a little bit more drive down Henry Hill. Possibly, that would possibly be the only spot where he could potentially make something happen, but he's just a little bit too far away.
Yeah, that's a jump they're going over right now. This is Henry Hill. I think there might be one more spot. That's the rollers through the turn. If you absolutely nail those rollers on the bend, you could sneak up the inside and go the long way around before the finish line. Marvin B, creative as he has all moto long.
Oh, he's trying hard.
Yeah, these guys are both trying it.
Yes. All right, so here we go. The rollers are going to be coming up next. It was actually that spot last year where Zach Osborne in the 250s made a pass by leaping into the rider in front of him. But look at Bogle protecting the inside.
Wow, good
Two doubles to go. Bogle's going to answer the challenge from Musquin and hold on to win his second moto of the year.
What a great race.
Nice race.
Fans appreciate that. You can hear the crowd going nuts right now.
Marvin needed the points, but hey, Bogle's a free agent. He needed the win. It was good to see them both lay it all out there like that. We're watching Tomac. Valuable points still right in front of him. It's Bisceglia now. Has Baggett gotten Bisceglia on the last lap? Because at one point when the lap began, Bisceglia was ahead of Baggett. Now he's only ahead of Tomac. Yes, Baggett made a move on the final lap. He's going to gain a point. Then Bisceglia, then Tomac. So Baggett from 6th to 5th on the final lap.
The all-new Geomax MX34 is the latest result of Dunlop's ongoing development with the help of top motocross pros. The all-new Geomax MX34 is the new industry standard for soft to intermediate terrain. Experience the advantage